from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for pretty while. Welcome everybody to Full Spectrum Universe. We are the embattled broadcast. With information, we are empowering humanity. We're also showing people how to unlock all of their truest potentials. Welcome everybody, ladies, gentlemen, and those alike. How's everybody doing tonight, right? We're here. We're getting ready to do it. It's been a couple days since we've been on. We've been going up against the algorithmic bugs to they're trying to cancel our channel. So I'm going to ask you to please like, share this out, subscribe, and also when you subscribe, hit that bell. Hit that bell so you can get notification. If you're not getting notifications for the show, which I see a lot of people are telling me, hey, I'm not getting notified when the show is going live, go to your settings and make sure that it is prioritized. That is one way to do it. We can walk through it step by step at some later date, but we're here. We're hanging out. And tonight is going to be sort of a rant evening, right? Usually we do presentations. Tonight, I'm going to dialogue a little bit. I feel like we haven't had a conversation with everybody in a while. And something I see happening more and more as we go through each and every day is spiritual division. And they want spiritual division for us. They are using their different avenues to create this moment in time where you're either a part of one side or another. And this is the paradigm that they want us in, because divide and conquer is one of the best strategies that they can use to keep us weak. But we know it better than that. We know their plans. We know how this works, right? So we don't give in to that. But it's up to us to be the foothold for the future of humanity, to show everybody else how how resolute we are standing together to not let them be the dictators of tomorrow, or the dictators of today for that matter. So I put together a little bit of pieces of monologuing to really go over some of the topic at hand. Also, we're going to talk about the different types of light warriors that are combating this specific style of divide and conquering tactic. And another thing I wanted to talk about is we're going to be live every night, of course, except for Sunday, because Sunday is a holiday. Every night except for Sunday for the next 2 weeks. We're doing everything and anything we can to break out of this algorithmic lull that the channel has been seeing. And it's not so much that we need people here to listen to what we're saying or things like that. What I want to do here, and our main purpose here, is to touch as many light-bodied souls across this tremendous planet. And if our reach isn't what it was, in the sense of, what we were doing for such a long time, and now all of a sudden it's completely changed analytically. One of the things that we do is we watch analytics, and we see the flow, the ebbs and flow of what does well, what doesn't do well, so we can use those types of broadcasts to reach as many people as possible. So we're going to try this. We're going to try going live every night. This is going to be like coast to coast. We're going to be here every day, 9 p.m., except for Friday. We're going to be here at 8 p.m. because we have a guest. Joan of Angels is coming on. We're also going to be sprinkling in a couple more guests here and there, and meet back up with some of the people that we were so, shoulder to shoulder with in the beginning phases of this show. And I think it's great to bring them back and see what they're all doing now. Paul Wallace will be here at some point within this month. We're going to talk about his new book, which is now available for pre-order on Kindle. Paperback is going to be available in the next few weeks here. So, the Eden Conspiracies is going to be a #1 bestseller, as all the rest of the Eden series has been. I'm super excited for it. I've been milling through it a little bit, and let me tell you, by probably the first 20 pages, there is some life-altering information that is coming forward with Paul's basically his breakdown of what we're seeing here and what it truly means. And I don't want to give any of the book away, right? And Omar is in Paul's book this time as well, just as I was in the third book. It's absolutely incredible that we got the honor and the privilege to, be a part of his journey as well. And he's been such a important part of ours too. So, there's a lot going on, a lot of things happening. I've got an event coming up. I'm going to be dropping the link for the paid event, which is the next workshop in the next 2 weeks here, in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And that's going to be set for probably about 3 or 4 weeks out. We also have a free event coming up that I'm putting together, which is not titled yet, but the information is slowly coming together. And that it'll probably kick off before the workshop itself, both of which are going to be off platform. So you'll have to even the free ones are going to have to go to Eventbrite and purchase a ticket. Therefore, we have our own little area of uncensored information to be delved out to everybody who wants to take part in that. And then the workshop, of course, will be another paid event, and we're going to go into some dramatic healings of tonal and frequency healing. But we're also going to break down a lot more than that. So when we get that all squared away, we'll bring that to everybody. We're already 6 minutes in, and I haven't talked about the topic yet. So let's get to the topic at hand. They want spiritual division, right? Spiritual division comes in many different forms. Now, when we say spiritual division, we don't mean in a religious sense. When we say spiritual division, we talk about the inherent goodness that comes from community spiritually, and that spirituality kind of transcends into the physical, into the emotional. And what we're really honing ourselves in on tonight is this ability to be good to one another, to live within love, right? That's what spiritual or spirituality for a lot of people is derived in. And they're doing this separation tactic, which means that you're no longer a part of this great collective or this great community. And when we start to fall back from these communities, ideas are lost, interactions are lost, seeing the little things and appreciating them are lost. It gets wild. It gets wild. And things get out of hand and we become very isolated. And that's kind of where they want you. They want you in that isolation. So when they feed you with exterior stimuli, they can essentially manipulate you emotionally. And that's really what we're coming to here. So as I'm pulling up what we need to go over this evening, what's going on, Gray, Tammy, I see Angels, Grace, Nicole, Legit, Bridget, Stephanie, Nancy, Kelly. Sugar Bee was here a little bit earlier. Welcome, everybody. Andromeda is here. So let's start right at the beginning. What is spiritual division, right? Or a spiritual divide? And spiritual divide arises because of a disconnect between the lowercase self and the uppercase self, right? So the capital S in self represents the highest future possibilities, who I am today, who I can be tomorrow. And maybe we're spending too much time doing and too less time being and to connect in this act of self, right? So one of the things that we look at is what is causing this, right? What is causing this breakdown or this spiritual divide? And like over the past few years, it's been made evidently so crazily the discomforting truth about contemporary life in this world. We may be a planet, but we're struggling to be a people or humanity as we see it. And we're deeply, even catastrophically polarized, fractured along lines of racial and religious identity, along with geographic and economic and ideological lines. We seem to have little in common except for our shared sense of alienation, right? Now, the events over the past few years have done even more to divide in the physical and spiritual ways of our true potential as a society tenfold, right? It did more damage than they could have ever imagined, or maybe it was purposely done, and they could imagine all of the detriment that they've done to humanity. But this social and political alienation, right? It reflects on the alienation from ourselves. Many of us lack a sense of meaning in the world, and especially as it is, and hope that, there's world hope still yet to come. There's hope within the world still yet to come. Now, statistics paint a picture of a national psyche that has been catastrophically damaged. The youngest Americans, and I'm talking about Americans right now, because this is the studies that I look at, because I live in America, but this is a trend globally. And these Americans have experienced the loss of of some of the most critical functions in themselves, right? So a 2019 study by the Pew Research Center found that a full three-quarters of adults under 30 say that people just look out for themselves most of the time. This is a trend that is inherently going up into what we're talking about tonight, right? When we look at people being only out for themselves, there tends to be that alienation. People don't look for that connection, or that connection doesn't come in the way that we saw 30 years ago, where neighbor helped neighbor, right? And it wasn't because of an inherent duty to do so, it was for the love of humanity. And they've used a lot of propaganda to segregate that specific type of mentality. And it becomes out of control. I see we've got Prince here, Kelly's here, and Ains. I keep saying it. Ains is here. I'm just going to call you Ains from now on. That's it. So as we keep going here, right? And we're going to put up a couple of pictures later when we get to the Warriors, but this is just a conversation tonight. So what are we left with in this culture crisis, right? It's the fundamental building blocks of flourishing a culture, the beliefs, rituals, and structures capable of creating experiences of ultimate meaning, roles of transcendent purpose, and communities of trust and belonging, which are all now too weak to sustain a piety, right? Not to mention hope. So we're grieving the loss of hope. Now, this community isn't so bearing to this information. What I'm giving you now is I'm giving you a look to outside of this community. What we do here is we reside in hope. Hello, Valentine. I'm sorry I missed you there before. We reside in hope. We reside in love. But the community at large, or those who are still asleep, don't. This is why it's imperative for the messages that we carry every day inside each and every one of us to get out there, to interact, and to be a part of that wider community. So we have this impact and we can pull people from that murky darkness of a hopeless future and let them see that that was the crescendo. And now you can come to the other side where love reigns supreme, where we're all here waiting with open arms to embrace those people, to show them, hey, things get better no matter what's happening on the exterior. We're here together, and that's all that matters. And we love one another, and that's all that matters, right? And we can be the structure or the breakaway civilization, sort of. I know it sounds a little bit like the esoteric, but when we say breakaway civilization, we don't mean in the sense of breaking away from civilization completely. We mean that standing in our own resolute armor that we've created, where we're impervious to their tricks, to their trades, to everything that they want to pull. And that's, we're sort of on the outskirts, right? One of the things I like to tell everybody that I meet is I am somewhat of the ultimate outsider. While I can intermingle in all of these different communities, all of these different places, just like in high school, there's the jocks, there's the goths, there's the preppies, the hippies, there's the cool kids. I used to be able to intermingle in all of them, not staying too long in each one, but had a few friends in each. And that was sort of my gift, was to be able to connect with these people, each and every one of them, from all those different walks of life or all those different styles. This is what we have to be, that glue right now, right? We have to be that rubber that holds it all together, that rubber cement that holds the picture to the board where we make those picto collages that we put on the wall of all of our friends, right? We have to be that rubber cement. We have to be there to absorb that shock. And I think that when we come to contact and we start to use this rubber or this glue mentality of holding the seams of society together, we're going to see that people are going to turn to this community for a path to understand that, hey, you guys have been doing this for a while. How does this work now? Right. So, you know, we're this is the place we're destined to be. So let's do our utmost due diligence to become the best that we can be within the circumstances, right? So let's keep going here. So, in order to understand how we arrived here, of course, there are many frequently cited factors: globalization, economic issues, precarity and acceleration in the pace of technology and economic change, the disruptive power of social medias, the racism, changing of gender roles, more and more and more, it keeps going. So many different factors, right? But our question takes a longer view. What is it about humanity today that has allowed us to get to this point, and how do we fix it? How do we get to that, over that hump, right? So our current crisis is related to a set of ideas we take for granted, a mindset within roots in the political and religious debates of centuries past. This mindset is a blend of scientific positivism, I can't say it, positive, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, and political liberalism indebted to a philosophical and social movement we call European Enlightenment, right? As in many regards, this has been somewhat beneficial. It has contributed to enormous scientific progress, increased wealth, and improvements in physical health. It also spawned the era of individual rights, which led to the emergence and the spread of democratic government all over the world. So, most of us take this for granted. We take for granted the power to think and act for ourselves, to demand accountability from government institutions, to choose our direction in life freely. And these things are indeed good, right? But there's a hidden cost to all this. All too often, this mindset leaves most of us without any way to understand, search, or find meaning and purpose and belonging. So, at the heart of contemporary mindset is a tendency to understand our search for ultimate meaning and purpose as a matter of individual choice rather than discerned and jointly experienced reality, right? As a purely personal and therefore political and eps- epistemological suspectical quest, right? Rather than truth to be lived out together. Our inherent hunger for truth, beauty, goodness, and love are typically viewed as merely subjective, right? The subjective whims that have no verifiable and scientific realism in it, which can therefore have no role in our institutions or politics. We may be scientific realists, but we're no longer we're not just spiritual realists, willing to be able to treat our hunger for purpose, meaning, and community as pointing to necessary elements of life, which they are, as something more than purely personal or private desires. We're here right now because of this. We're in this mode right now because we yearn for those truths, those inherent truths, which are hard to find sometimes because we have to find that information that resonates with us. It changes per person. And we've used such things as religion and politics to be that crutch, that gets us through all this while letting abhorrent things happen to our fellow man. And this is part of the problem, right? We're in that mindset that because we enjoy some of the grants that are given to us because of the society we live in, that we forget about how we eliminate or really push down the darkness that resides behind that curtain. This is what we talk about, the polarity of everything, the good and the evil. It's a spiritual war. So while we're trying to do good, there are those out there who are inherently trying to do bad. And there are those out there that reside in between. They do both good and bad. And when we come into conflict with or contact with some of these negative people, we tend to walk away from that or be gone of it. We have to engage it a little bit, not in a physical way, but in verbal way. We engage it. Why? So we understand it. Because to understand it is to basically defeat it or to have it have no effect on us anymore. We talked about the archons. We talked about the cabals. We talked about secret societies, elites. We did all that. They're actively working and they will always be actively working. It's how much power we give them or how much power we give them in turn becomes our subjugation. When we're aware of what their plans are and how they work and how they're using spiritual division to break us apart at the seams because we don't reside in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, because we don't reside within those world religions. We are now heretics, or we're labeled as people who are outside of the norm, crazies, when really we're out there inherently searching for our truth. And we seem to be the most stable ones of them all now. What a change, right? What a change. The people who called us crackpots and crazy lunatics for so long look like the ones who are inherently the lunatics now. They're the ones that are taking logic and destroying it at its face. Their circular arguments are breaking their will without them even knowing it, right? So we see so much happening. We see them changing terminology and meanings of words to inherently make them more, inclusive of everything. But at the same time, they're taking away the privileged meanings of those words by allowing that to happen. And, I said something to my wife the other day, which I can't say here. And I think it was actually this morning. And, we were talking about this, and it was incredibly wild how when I said it and I thought about what I said and I thought about the way I sounded absolutely like I was off my ass, really, you know? And it's it's destroying us. It's destroying our values, core values, God-given values, right? Because people believe that if you're part of something, you can't be a part of something else. And I think we're somewhat the best examples of that. We take some stuff from Christianity. We take some stuff from the Vedas. We take some stuff from all even Islam. There's a lot of different practices, North mythology, Greek mythology. I mean, we take stuff from people who've been channeling contact, some people who have experienced contact, and we wrap that all into a nice, neat bow and throw it out there for people to digest. That's one of the reasons why I decided that during this 2 weeks, we're going to be playing around with different types of shows because I want to be able to bring more, right? I want to be able to bring more. We stuck around in spirituality for quite a while, right? And what we're doing, right, is we're using that spiritual information to now spread it out across all that we know to sort of pick little pieces up to create that labyrinth of who we are, right? And really it's a beautiful thing because it's a search for knowledge. What doesn't apply, we let it, what doesn't apply, we let it fly. What we feel can do something to inherently build on our understanding, we take and we use it and we fit that into our everybody that is in this community has their own narrative of how things are have been played out for however long we want to think that we've existed. And all of them are valid. All of them are valid. Nobody is when I say narrative, I don't mean it like mainstream media narrative. I mean it in the way that we have our own story that understands in a specific way. And this is how we get to that, total disclosure. Because of all the different perspectives, we're able to see all these things. And by seeing all these things, we become inherently more engaged with Well, that works, that doesn't work. What work? It's a great conversation to have, right? And because of that fact, and we're accepting of each other in that way, their divisive nature will never work because everybody here, and I guarantee you, we've all come in contact with somebody in the community who we heard their story. And the first thing we say is, that's BS. I felt it. That's BS. I don't know who this person is, but when they say that, that's trash. I can't believe that. And you're entitled to that. You're entitled to that every which way, shape, and form. And there are a lot of people who are out here lying, for sure. But we have still have a respect for those people. We don't ostracize them in a way. We show them what we know, and if they agree or don't agree, it's whatever. We'll kind of leave them to their own devices, right? That's not how it is now in the regular society, in our regular community. If you don't agree with those narratives or whatever they're propagating out there, you are ostracized, you're name called, and you're canceled. That's insane. They've canceled people all the way up to the bank. Like, that's for real. That's insane. That means we've crossed so many Rubicons to get to this point that we're at this pivotal moment where it's like the society break down, and then like a phoenix, the inherent few will rise from the ashes to build the new society, or are we still at the brink where we can pull it back a little bit from insanity? Which is a question we struggle with every day, right? Everybody struggles with this. You hear something, you see something, you're like, holy crap, how far gone have we gone? Like, how far have we gone? And, you know, hope is never lost. Hope's never lost. We're always here, right? So let's keep going a little bit because I want to get to the types of spiritual warriors that we have out there. So basically, our current ways of thinking is deficient in ways that are making us sick and scared and separated from the gifts and values that make life meaningful. We're blind to these gifts, refusing to receive them often. And we're blind simply because we don't look, because our belief systems have told us that there is nothing to look for. And this is the result of social and political anonymity, right? Not so much in the presence of economic or political factions, but in the absence of moral powers and spiritual gifts necessary to transcend them. So, as I was reading this, right, and going through all this, I thought to myself, what's the counter production of this? Like, what do we do to counteract this, right? Well, coffee is one because it keeps me energized, but the light warriors, the light warriors are the counteracting. And everybody in this group or everybody that comes and frequents this channel is a specific type of light warrior. There are 5 to pick from, right? Now, when I go through this list, I'm going to put the picture up. You're going to see the picture and stare at the picture and see if it resonates with you, right? So, one of the things that we are looking at is when we're reading or hearing what these light warriors do or the quote that goes with it, I want you to really immerse yourself in the understanding of what that means and if that is you or not you, right? And then there's one exceptional light worker, which a lot of us are as well, right? So let's get this done first. So there are 5 spirit warriors of the rising soul. The path of the spiritual warrior is not soft and sweet. It's not artificially blissful or pretend forgiving. It is not fearful of divisiveness. It is not afraid of its own shadow. It is not afraid of losing popularity when it speaks its truth. It will not beat around the bush where directness is essential. It has no regard for vested interests that cause any suffering. It is benevolent and it is fiery and it is cuttingly honest in its efforts to liberate itself and humanity from the egoic ties that bind. So, shunning strong opinions in the name of spirituality is anti spiritual. Spirituality that is only floaty and soft is a recipe for disaster, allowing all manner of manipulation to run amok. Real spirituality is a quest for truth in all its forms. Sometimes we find the truth on meditation cushions, and sometimes we find it in the heart of conflict. May all spiritual warriors rise into fullness. This planet is lost without them. And that's from the author Jeff Bro. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Amazing. So, to understand what is involved in the individual experience of archetypes, we need to understand that experience is more than just psychological. It is extremely spiritual and monumentally existential. We are quite literally manifesting the microcosm within the macrocosm within the microcosm of the human experience. It's a Promethean act if there ever was one. We are audaciously downloading an experience that could be considered the knowledge of the gods, and then transforming it into moral power that we can use practically. We are actualizing the divinity of the cosmos through our own individualization. This kind of experience serves as an extremely powerful link between us and the universe. So each archetype brings forth its own energy, its own quintessence, and its own personality, which is simply just an aspect of who we are. Archetypes are both philosophical and spiritual tools we can use to help us leverage our own unique contributions in an infinite reality. Like Carl Jung said, unless we prefer to be made fools by our own illusion, we shall be carefully analyzing every fascination, extract from it portion of our personality, like a quintessence, and slowly come to recognize that we meet ourselves time and time again in thousands of disguises on the path of life. So, the first one we're going to talk about tonight is the white warrior. Now, this is an emanation of the white warrior. Stare at this picture while I read what the white warrior is. The visionary starts with a clean sheet of paper and reimagines the world. That's by Malcolm Gladwell. White warriors are the new warriors, the innocent acolytes of soulful intent. These warriors ask, who or what will rise up to fill the imagination void? And then answers it. It might as well be me. They have the naive courage that has the audacity to be fresh, to be a fresh force for progressive change. They may or may not have heeded Machiavelli's warning. There is nothing more difficult to execute than to introduce a new order of things. For he who introduces it has all those who profit from the old system as his enemies. And even if they had heard it, they would dare to introduce a new order of things anyway. Their gusto alone challenges any and all outdated and patriarchal systems. They declare to the powers that be, your power is an illusion. Your freedom is nothing more than smoke and mirrors and hiding slavery. Peace cannot come from war. I see that now. I'm leaving you behind to create something new, something healthier, something free, something true. White warriors should meditate on the root and sacral chakras. So, in the audience, who emanates with the light or the white warrior? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody? Okay. Let's go to the black warrior, which is the next one. Actually, the next one is the red warrior. I made a mistake. Boop, boop. The red warrior. See the red lightning, right? So, the red warrior It says, you haven't yet opened your heart fully to life, to each moment. The peaceful warrior's way is not about invulnerability, but absolute vulnerability to the world, to life, and to the presence you felt. All along, I've showed you by example that a warrior's life is not about imagined perfection or victory. It's about love. Love is a warrior's sword. Wherever it cuts, it gives life, not death. This was Dan Millman. Red warriors are full of passion and desire for the crucible of life, longing to learn from the heartaches, the soul shocks, and the wake up calls of life. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. They have their heart to the grindstone, sharpening it too quickly, and they are always ready to use it with an eros of the Most High. Should they meet Buddha on their travels, he will be cut. However, their absolute vulnerability is a double edged sword. On the one side, it is wide open and it learns from love itself. On the other side, it is an openness that cuts deep and it learns from the pain. Spiritual blood is inevitable. They practice hard love and they seek perfection at the subtle arts and of sacred angers. Their spiritual appetite is ferocious indeed, but don't confuse their fury and rage with violence and cruelty. Their fire is a non-violence fire and a peaceful resistance. They won't fight back with their fists or weapons, but they will not be pacified either. For love does not imply pacifism. They are the courageous David facing down tyrannical Goliath. They are willing to die, bringing water to the wasteland. And if you are a red warrior, you should meditate on the solar plexus and the heart chakra. Who in here is a red warrior? I see we have some white warriors, right? Another one says that they feel, Kelly says she feels red. Excellent. That one feels right to me. When we get to the end, I believe we're the last warrior, all of us. I'm going to tell you why. And you'll understand why. So next is going to be the black warrior, I believe. Yes. So everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it becomes. That's Carl Jung. The higher the white tower of knowledge, the larger the darker shadow of mystery. Black warriors make an effort to explore this dark shadow more than any other warrior, except maybe rainbow warriors. They are in tune with death, and so they are more in tune with life. They understand the power of living between worlds. Without darkness, nothing comes to birth. There is no energy without opposites. And so they strive to shine light on the darkness, not to be sneaky or immoral, but to become more self actualized and whole. Their raison d'etre is to force the shadow into consciousness. Because of this, they are sometimes purposefully constrained the warrior spirit. They are the Haikoas and the sacred clowns. Right? That's a wild one for me, but they do this to shake things up, to humble the warrior's process. They know that in the shadow lies their humility. Indeed, if nature and pain are the best teachers, then the shadow is arguably the third. There are more secrets to the universe in a teaspoon of a shadow than in all the sun's light. And a black warrior strives to discover those secrets. The black warrior is always tenderly wrestling and loving negotiating with their shadow so as to bring these hidden dimensions to light. They declare to the world, I'll count coup on my shadow for you if you'll count coup on your shadow for me. They vow to fight the good fight with their shadow so as to keep from spewing their darkness onto those around them. If you are the black warrior, meditate on the throat chakra. The black warrior is a wild one, right? Ah, That's awesome, Shannon. Excellent. Well, Prince, I think we are all rainbow warriors, but I'm not going to jump there just yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Right? Let's do it. This is the fun part. This is the interactive part. And if you haven't shared this out already, please share this out. People need to know what kind of warriors they are, right? Also, make sure you leave a comment when the stream is finished to help defeat the algorithmic bugs. So, as we keep going, now we're going to the one right before the rainbow warrior, which is the green warrior, right? The green warrior. The basic difference between an ordinary person and a warrior is that a warrior takes everything as a challenge, while an ordinary person takes everything either as a blessing or a curse. Carlos Castaneda. Green warriors are fiercely interdependent and sensitive to interconnected energy. Their third eyes are wide open to astonishing synchronicities of life. They fluently speak a language older than words. Their eco conscious power arises from the spiritual contact with the earth and a sense of awe from the cosmos as a miraculous whole. They are all about rebirth, synergism, and interconnectivity. They seek to heal all types of nature deprivation, where the human animal has become autistic or disassociated in its relationship with the natural world. They understand dissociation arises from the apparent psychosomatic split between the spirit and the flesh. They seek to heal the divide between the microcosm and the macrocosm by revealing how both are needed to put the whole into holistic. They are eco warriors, disaster shamans, and the fifth horseman of the apocalypse, which is the rebirth after the four horsemen, if you don't know. Their eco moralism trumps any and all outdated notions of morality, and so they have moved beyond good and evil. They are light travelers who travel light and no longer have the need to own things. They understand, as the Krishnamurti did, that the earth is there to be loved, to be cared for, and to not be divided as yours and mine. It is foolish to plant a tree in a compound and call it mine. So, if you are of the green persuasion, meditate on your third eye chakra. And now, for the grand finale of all those. Oh, before we do that, let's see. Smashed. Got it. Shared. Awesome. There isn't an indigo warrior here. No, this is not in that frame of mind. But we're going to get to the last. I love the green too, but this is what we are. And I almost guarantee that all of you reside within the Rainbow Warrior. Now, read that for a second. I'll be quiet. Go ahead. Now, this is from the Native American. Um, I believe it's a association, the Native American Association. So, the Rainbow Warrior. When birds fall from the sky and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth from many colors, classes, and creeds, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. This is the Hopi prophecy. Rainbow warriors see the big picture of the accumulation of all different warrior perspectives. With a question mark in their heart and a teacher in their soul, they are walking, talking, and breathing meditations. They have merged their consciousness with the cosmic consciousness, and they are able to bring forth sacred knowledge. A rare bird indeed. They have moved beyond the lower vibrations of survival and fear to the higher vibrations of forgiveness and love. But this doesn't mean that they cannot still tap into those lower energies or become white, red, black, or green warriors at any given time. They are chameleon warriors, able to assume and subsume most masks and channel most forms of energy. They are the calm in the storm. When the rest of the world is falling apart, They are busy falling into place in order to be the one who can put things back together again. They realize that love is the basic building block of the universe. They are the architects of power excellence. They plant seeds of moderation and love, and the earth responds with healthy ecosystems, and people respond with happiness in their hearts. They are sustainable change or unsustainable world has been waiting for. If you are one of these rainbow warriors, meditate on the crown chakra. This is all of us. Last quote for all of this. This is from Alistair Valdez. We all want change and great things in our lives, yet most of us just seek to settle and find a groove. There is enough dust to settle in this world. What we need are the more fearless warrior spirits to get out there and shake things up in this realm. So the time has come to reach for the stars, for the stars will not come down to you. And so it is said. I'm reading the comments on how everybody felt when I said more Navajo. Yes, yes. Our ancient Native American ancestors had tremendous insight into not only the earth, but the human light body, right? The human light body, and also the cosmos. Imagine that. A supposed primitive people with oral traditions and initiations passed down for how many generations that we've even had some of the people, you know, come here. That's incredible, Omar. I believe that I have a little tiny bit of Mohawk in myself as well. I am from the Five Nations of New York, where one of my ancestors, came from, and they labeled themselves Iroquois Mohawk. But things change over time. But that's what I believe, and this has also been one of the like hyper focus points for me was understanding Native American culture because I felt like it was my connection to everything, right? And how incredible they saw things, and how even today they have guardians of the knowledge. And those guardians are given these oral traditions. We've had Hero on here. Hero is, you know, it Hero is one of the most amazing storytellers that I've ever encountered. But because of his Native American past, he was granted these traditions and he shares what he can with us, but some he can't. And it's crazy that me and Omar are from possibly the same, not the same subset tribe, but most of the Mohawk tribe because we vibe so well, right? And this is the type of gentleman that they put out in the wilderness at 13 years old and told him to live, not to just live and like survive, but live. If you understand what I mean by that, live. Live your truth. Live what you've learned. Be a part of it. This is what we're doing now. We are living, we're not just surviving. We're living. We might be cousins, Omar. I would think so. But we're not just surviving anymore. We've passed that. Our frequency is too high within the state of love. We are now giving back. This is like the programs you hear about for recovering addicts. First, you have to see the problems, admit the problems, right? Then you have to address them, make recompense on them. After recompense, you do full inventories of all that you are so that you don't get caught up in bad habits again. And the last step is you give it back. We're doing the same thing, just in an energetic way, right? And the Akashic record and collective consciousness has a part to play in this, right? And we're going to talk about that in a couple of episodes. How to access the Akashic record, right? One of the other episodes I put up today, we've got 4 episodes back to back to back to back. I'm telling you, we're going for 2 weeks straight. So strap in because we're going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. We're touching on the paranormal. We're touching on creation. We're using the hero's journey. I mean, we're going in. Some nights, Joan of Angels is coming. Absolutely. Some nights, we're just going to be talking like tonight. It's not going to be full on presentations, but from a half hour to an hour, we're going to dive into some topics that may change perspectives a little bit. And I'm so ready for it. I'm so ready to just connect with all of you because that's finding my soul tribe. And my soul tribe is all of you. And together, we're labeling synchronicities. We're talking about the macro and the micro, and we're understanding and learning from each other. One of the episodes we're going to do, we're going to put the link into the chat room. So anyone and everyone who wants to come in and say something and have some platforming will get that chance. That'll be later on in the few weeks. But this could also change the show to be a nightly show. I don't know. Maybe it will be like a coast to coast. This show was modeled after coast to coast. So it's only right that we start to follow suit, right? And I want this to be able to reach as many people as possible because just like Maria says down here, our vibe attracts our tribe. So we have to let them know we're here, right? And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to give us the ability to go through some different ideas that aren't mine. And that's something that I'm really, really excited about. This is why we have the Telegram chat. This is why we have the Clubhouse Club, so that we can have these open conversations regularly. And I'm always on them too. We're going to start using Twitter Spaces. I know a lot of people don't like Twitter anymore, but Twitter Spaces could be an avenue where we could grow the community and bring people together. We have to look at all of these different avenues to make sure that people know we're here waiting for them with open arms. And it's up to them to take that step. We can help it along, right? But it's up to them to know. So, I mean, what a crazy time to be alive, right? It's exciting. It's exciting out here. I'm going to be working like an animal this week, just to let you know. So if I seem tired on stream, it's just me. And that's okay, Nicole. You don't have to go anywhere. We'll be here too. And I've gotten off quite a few of them too, but I'm starting to go back because they're avenues to express information, right? One of the things that I talk about is being able to keep one foot in, which you don't have to do. I'm going to be that person, right? Everybody's journey is different. But as the archivist, I have to be able to reach as many people as possible. So I've got one foot in the matrix and one foot out. And that one foot out of the matrix is attached to a rope that's attached to a tree. So if I have to yank on it for the rest of the community to pull me back out real quick because I've gotten too far in and both feet are going in, I've got that ability, right? And, you know, one of the things that I'm seeing right now, too, and this is just a really off the cuff thought with what's going on with persecution of people in a lot of these places. And, we all know what's going on. We can't really say names and stuff like that, but there is a movement to use institutions to silence people, all different types of people, not just one side or the other, but the people who inherently want good. They don't want to give us credence or platforms because we'll change the world. They definitely don't want that. Not saying that we'll change the world. We're the best there is. No, but messages of love usually permeate to the top like cream does, right? They say cream rises to the top. So does love. Because it's a higher frequency, it'll always end up on top of everything. You ever remember in grade school, you got into a fight with somebody? Some people may have even gotten into fist fights. But after you've actually got to talk to that person after that fist fight, how many times did you guys go out and have a drink afterwards or, become really good friends after an instance like that? Right? This is the same mentality that we have to keep now, even if we have disputes on verbiage or information. When it's all said and done, we have to respect that the other person feels that way, and that's okay. It's all good. We can still be the best of friends, right? Usually when we hash it out, on the other side of that hash out is you end up being really close. It's a crazy thing how humanity works. So let's use these tools because we are the ones that we've been waiting for, right? And our inherent duty is to pass this information to awaken the world. Could you imagine what it would look like with an awakened world at our back or behind us or right next to us, shoulder to shoulder is a better way to put it. Could you imagine the repercussions of all those actions? Are all those people who feel that they're alone get an entire family of whole countries, the size of whole countries? The impact it can have on those people, their emotional, physical, mental impacts that we have just by talking, just by sharing, because of the love that resides within that vibration that's coming out of your mouth. People feel that it's contagious, it's infectious. We have to use it. It's our greatest tool. Well, my greatest tool. The one thing I was always blessed with, and everybody used to tell me this because I never used to shut my mouth. I have zero filter all the time. Zero filter. And if you know me in real life, it's wild. Like it's when I'm online, I have to be very cognizant of what I'm saying. But when I'm offline, I curse up a storm. I can be a complete jerk a lot of the time, but it's it's crazy, right? But I like to laugh, smile, and make other people laugh and have a good time. And when people aren't in that kind of mode, I can be a little annoying because I like push the envelope a little bit. Like, hey, what's going to get you to laugh a little bit? What's going to get you to smile? Oh, that's the other thing. Prince just reminded me. It's Wild t-shirts are coming. It's Wild hoodies are coming. You can reside in the wild. Let me tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to have a lot of fun with t-shirts. I'm working on t-shirts. They're going to be all different ones, right? And there's going to be a lot of different concepts that we've all discussed here. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And you're going to be able to use those t-shirts as tools to help wake people up. They're going to see the t-shirt and they're going to say, what the hell does that mean? Right? And it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm hopefully, and I know I've been saying this for like a year, hopefully the website will be finished soon and we can get it going, which will be the grand center hub of everything. When the website comes, everything is going to change for this broadcast. I'm telling you that right now, only because no matter what, you'll be able to go to a space and see what's happening right now, be in contact with each other, have a tremendous amount of information at your disposal to do with which as you wish, right? And that is going to be a platform that is going to transcend the social media platforms. It's going to be that amazing, I promise. Now, when it first opens up, it may not have all those features yet, right? But it will. But it will. It's going to be our community meeting place. It's going to be epic. Epic. It's going to be wild, right? So, with all that being said, I just want you all to know that in my heart, I hold a space of reverence and love for each and every one of you. Together, we do this. Without us together, it's very difficult to do it on your own, right? We are the structure of stability for each other. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the future of fifth dimensional humanity. If not us, tell us who so we can learn from them. The information is the activation. By understanding the information, you are able to activate centers in your brain, your chakras, and your energies to create that change, to be the change. We are the change. We're the coming storm. Or are we in the eye of the storm? You be the judge of that. Because we are the storm. And we're not laying down for anybody. The forever students will lead the charge and take the hand grenades if need be. And that's what we'll do. So, with all that being said, like, share, subscribe. Please leave a comment when the stream is over. I love you all of my rainbow light warriors out there. I wish you all a happy and great evening. And I hope this message finds you with love and abundance. And we'll see you all tomorrow night on Full Spectrum Universe. Have a great night.